Thank you for joining me for my 2018 State of the City. As I begin my third year in office, I'm asking you to indulge me for a couple minutes as I reflect on the last 2 years as mayor. I knew when I ran for mayor, the job wasn't going to be easy as American Greetings' departure was imminent. They made up 20% of the city's revenue. 20%. This would be a traumatic blow to any community. City Council helped this past year by approving some tough decisions I had to make to minimize this blow. Nevertheless, the city was still estimated to expend $1.5 million more than we were estimated to bring in. Thanks to the hard work of all my directors and employees by tightening the belts, being more efficient, and finding new ways to save money, we not only ended up expending less than we brought in, we were able to maintain all the cherished city services that the residents demand and expect. This hard work equated to a 12% cut in expenses from the previous year. This is $2,123,000 of expenses cut. Each day, when I walk into the office, I am happily challenged at the experiences presented to me and the topics I get to learn about. I feel fortunate the residents of Brooklyn gave me this privilege of being their mayor. I am continually driven to move Brooklyn forward because as I look at my children, I am committed to giving them the type of experiences I had as a child growing up here. Just as I did, my daughter's eyes light up when Santa comes on a sleigh at Christmas time to hand her that candy cane. These are the type of things that make Brooklyn our community. Closing the books on 2017, I want to end this long-time conversation about American Greetings' departure and look to 2018 as a time of Brooklyn's turnaround. My administration has accomplished a lot over the last 2 years. Not all of it was noticeable to the public, but I am proud that my directors and employees not only understood some of our financial challenges last year, they stepped up by working hard to not only reduce expenses, but they also introduced new ideas of how to increase revenue. The accomplishments I can tout as mayor were because the team around me and the employees that work hard every day to provide quality services. My administrative team includes my Executive Secretary, Jill Ludwig, Police Chief Scott Melke, Acting Fire Chief Kevin Paul, Service Director John Verba, Finance Director Dave Schaefer, Building Commissioner Dave Kalsar, Recreation Manager Maria McGinty, Law Director Kevin Butler, Economic Development Director Andy Udris, and Senior Director Karen Frado. And I thank all of my employees for their hard work over the last couple of years. City Council has changed a bit since the last year, introducing new members Andy Sellards and Meg Ryan Shockey. With a diverse City Council in experience, age, gender, political affiliation, and years in the community, this helps to give different perspectives to the financial and legislative issues that come before Council, as well as their viewpoints for a successful community. I would like to thank them all for their hard work on behalf of our community. This includes Council President Ron Van Kirk, Mrs. Kathleen Pucci, Mr. Kevin Tansky, Mrs. Maribel Beer, Mrs. Barbara Politsky, Mr. Andy Sellards, and Mrs. Ryan Shockey. My goals and mission have remained consistent over the last couple of years. This year, I will be putting a lot of emphasis on capital improvements and improved resident communication, while the others I will continue to monitor and reevaluate constantly. These include continuing to offer residents a better quality of life, first-rate services, and safe neighborhoods, constantly improving our technology and efficiency and communication, continue fostering economic development, continue promoting fiscal responsibility, and as I already stated, addressing some of our major capital investments. As with my mission for the city, I am proud of the types of services we provide here in Brooklyn, but I am especially proud of our safety forces. And I can confidently say, after receiving the resident survey results this past March, overwhelmingly, the residents agree with me. Just a brief recap on the 2017 numbers. We received $4,050 in grants. We had about 2,943 service calls, of which 1,956 were EMS calls, and 987 were fire calls. This is a 9.8% increase from 2016. We collected $329,000 for our ambulance billing. I am proud that Brooklyn still only collects what residents have on their insurance. This means if you call for an ambulance in our community and you don't have insurance, the city picks up that fee. Or if your insurance doesn't cover the whole cost, we do not collect that fee. Not many communities can say that nowadays. Additionally, we offered a couple new services like the Pulse Point app. If you want to know what's going on in our fire department at any given time, you could log on to the Pulse Point app and see where the fire responded to. This also gives the option to those who are trained in CPR to help at any particular scene in most cities throughout the county. I also am proud of some of the recognitions that our department received, including the American Heart Association's Lifeline EMS Recognition Award. We truly have first-rate services here. And I'm especially proud of our firefighters, Lieutenant James Mochan, firefighter Ed Krajowski, Eddie Coyne, and Brian Cease, who were awarded with the Star of Life by the state of Ohio. Some of our 2018 goals include hiring a new fire chief and some new firefighters, adding a new ambulance to our fleet, and continually improving our community involvement. In our police department, a recap of our 2017 numbers, we had 22,290 service calls. Again, this is a 2.3% increase in call volume. Overall, we had a decrease in major crimes in the city, and our training hours nearly tripled as our officers had 2,610 hours of training. We are proud of one of our very own, Sergeant Cindy Eschweiler, who graduated from the FBI National Academy. Less than 1% of officers throughout the country have this recognition, so congratulations once again to her. We continue to improve our community engagement, having our officers go throughout the community with Coffee with the Cop, our senior center, and into our school. In addition of one of those items from Coffee with the Cop was a volunteer autism registry. One of the parents asked if our police officers could add this to one of the services in the city. We researched it and we were able to add this to a list of many services that the police department already provide here in Brooklyn. A couple ordinances we passed is a proof of financial responsibility, making sure people have insurance in our community who are driving, increase the penalty for those driving through construction zones if they were to hit somebody, and we improved our solicitors and peddlers ordinances. In 2018, we plan on computerizing our payroll in the police department, adding 3 patrol vehicles and 50 new portable radios. One of Brooklyn's treasures is our senior center, where residents can go Monday through Friday for a variety of activities and services. We cannot do this type of level of service here in Brooklyn without the 54 senior volunteers who in 2017 alone donated 4,665 hours of their time. We continue to offer other items in the city like homebound meals, senior snow plowing, assistance with income taxes, health screenings, and we continue to offer meals every Tuesday and Thursday on site for our seniors. We will continue to offer the senior van to help seniors get to medical appointments, shopping, or any other service they need throughout the community for $1 per trip. Many of the residents that enjoy our senior center are met with non-residents from other communities because they know that our center provides these quality services. The recreation center hours were scaled back a bit last year during non-peak hours as a cost savings measure, but these were restored soon after we realized the city would end the year in the black. Some additions for 2017 including a new heat exchanger for the ice rink. We introduced a new partnership with Soza Fitness with a bunch of new classes. We hired a new part-time recreation program coordinator to help improve the programs we offer in the recreation center as a result of the community-wide survey. We now have private swim lessons offered to residents and non-residents alike. We've welcomed the Cleveland State University hockey team to the rink. secured $2,000 in grant money to purchase new skates, and we moved the administrative offices from upstairs to the first floor, which allowed us to expand our exercise room for larger classes. In 2018, we plan on spending over $250,000 in money in the auditorium. This includes painting in the indoor pool, replacing the sand filters that are nearly 28 years old, replacing the pool boiler, and in the parks we'll be adding new trash cans and a new pavilion roof. For 2018, we're also going to introduce some new programs and services for our residents, including music and movies in the park, a doggy swim day just before the pool is drained this year, and a Santa's workshop. In our service department, a recap of 2017, we spent approximately $2.2 million to improve Rodone and Rodone Alley. We secured money from the county to crack seal Tiedemann Road. We collected 457 tons of recycling. We decreased our waste by 95 tons. We collected 1,500 tons of compost, saving $64,000 in tipping fees. We cut 70 trees throughout the city, trimmed 150 more, and removed 120 stumps. One of the services that I continually get compliments on is our snow plowing in the city, and we spread 1,812 tons of salt in our community to keep our roads safe. In 2017, we added to our capital, including a bobcat, a riding lawnmower, and 2 dump bodies for our F-350 trucks. We introduced a new ordinance that permits the service department to cite for trash and recycling violations. This is a big improvement in the city of Brooklyn because this was once done by our police department. So this allows the service department to go out, and if people leave their trash bins out or violate any of our recycling and trash rules, we can handle these issues immediately without calling the police officer out. In 2018, we plan to purchase a new salt truck, a new hustler, and a new mini excavator. As far as 2000 local street construction, we'll be improving Orchard, Torrance, and the remaining portion of Delora, as well as we'll be working with Ohio Department of Transportation on the slope near Best Buy to improve that and secure that area. Additionally, we will be returning to Rodone and the sound barriers to make sure the punch list has gone through. In our building department, one of the great things that we introduced in 2017 was our first annual community garage sale. This was a huge hit in our community. We plan to do this again this year in June. We updated some of our ordinances, in particular the fee schedule for construction and multi-dwelling rentals. We continue to hit door-to-door for our inspections of every single home in Brooklyn with our 5-year commitment to look at every home. In 2017, we had 1,379 inspections completed with 494 violations issued, 19 of which were sent to court. 349 rental licenses were issued and 34 rentals were inspected. In addition, in 2016, were 2 ordinances where we're seeing the results of now, with 80 vacant registrations filed and 35 foreclosure notifications filed. Brooklyn truly has a solid housing stock here in the community. We have a very low vacancy rate and very low foreclosures compared to other communities. And we're going to keep that up by making sure that we are constantly looking at our housing stock and making sure that people are complying with the rules in the city. One of our goals for 2018 is to improve our planning and zoning code that hasn't been updated since 1993. This will be a very lengthy process, taking nearly 2 years to probably complete. We had a banner year as far as construction here in Brooklyn, with $29 million construction done for 2017, including Ryder Truck, Brooklyn Point Assisted Living Facility on North Cliff, and the Old American Greetings Park, now owned by Industrial Realty Group, about $1 million there. Auto Zone on Brook Park Road, Peterbilt on Brook Park Road, Sam's Club as well, spent about $600,000 in improvements in their store, and the residents alone spent about $3.5 million on home improvements here in Brooklyn in 2017. Some of the other accomplishments in City Hall were a couple of lawsuits that were filed to protect our home rule authority. Brooklyn is a chartered community. We want to protect this. One of these things is a small cell statute. We do not want utilities coming into our community and putting huge boxes onto our easements without permission. Another thing is centralized collections. We think the way that collections are for businesses are working right now, and we want to keep it internal to make sure it's protected. Additionally, we'll continue working on the solar panel farm on the closed city landfill. We did have the charter review process, which is mandated every 6 years based upon our charter requirements. This commission is selected by City Council and myself, so I'd like to thank Ron Belbier, Fran Barrett, Ron Campbell, Carl Etheridge, Denise Folger, Dick Kistemaker, Sue Grodick, Jerry Hayes, and Tom Heitz for all the time they dedicated to help improve the charter this year. The changes proposed and approved by the voters included the number needed to approve a council president, the wording clarification on zoning measures to the ballot, the clerk of council position, which is now hired by the finance director, and clarifications of the type of public offices council is prohibited from holding. We're continuing to work on our SSI VIP upgrade in our finance department, making financial reports easier to obtain from residents. We hope to plan on putting a software directly on the city's website for residents to look at our financials at any given point with up-to-date information. We also completed our community survey, as I already mentioned, in 2017. Just some highlights from the importance and satisfaction component of this survey is that we need to focus on maintaining the streets in our city as well as the building and facilities according to the residents. They would like us to look at the quality of police services, concentrate at the quality of the city parks and recreation programs. They want us to concentrate on the value they receive for their city taxes and fees. And lastly, to round out the top 5 most important issues, the overall image of the city. So we will use this survey as a constant reminder of things that the residents of the city want us to focus on going forward. Some new businesses I'd like to welcome to the City of Brooklyn in 2017 include National Safety Apparel, who relocated to the Old American Greetings building, as well as Inogen, who relocated there as well. Inogen is a California company that does medical portable devices. Cutting Line, Boost Mobile, Plaza Nueva, Mexican Grill, all in the Bidoff Plaza. Ohio Intermodal Services on Clinton. Like Home Child Care on Memphis, Wingstop in the Ridge Park Square, Great Work Employment in Bidoff Plaza, Peterbilt Trucking on Brook Park Road, Mini Miracles and Beyond on Ridge Road, and lastly, American Fleet Services, who relocated part of their business to the Plain Dealer building, and we're very glad to welcome them to our community. Some new businesses for 2018 and beyond include the Brooklyn Point Assisted Living Center on North Cliff. This should be completing by September. Menards has been to the Planning Commission again, and they hope to start construction this summer. Medical Mutual plans to move into the community in 2020. Healthmore, also known as HMI, is a company out of Strongsville that will be relocating to the Old American Greetings building this year. AutoZone is finishing up their renovations and hopes to be open soon. And lastly, Fairfield Inn and Suites will be building behind Cracker Barrel on Tiedemann Road. This is one of the new slides I introduced this year. I really want to highlight some of our community events and the people who really make our community great. These include our Employee of the Year, Cindy Simcoe, who was honored for her hard work here in Brooklyn. The Resident of the Year, Mike Bunaski, for his great work with Christ Cupboards, giving to the needy in our community and anyone who needs assistance. Our Economic Development Director, Andy Udris, was named the Bright Star by the Northern Ohio Area Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to thank our Laurel Garden Club, who added the blue and gold star memorial marker to Brooklyn Memorial Park this year. We had a ton of proclamations to honor some of the residents and students in our community, including Sonia Brown for her years on the Civil Service Commission. We honored the Brooklyn varsity hockey team for the Greater Cleveland League Championship. We honored Marcello Carosella for being the bowling state qualifier. We honored Seth Majeski and Andrew Zarens for being wrestling state qualifiers. Sienna Jackson for earning 3 state titles in gymnastics. We honored Bob Hennings, our former arborist in the city, on his retirement and his many years of service here. The Brooklyn Youth Football State Champions, the St. Thomas More Football CYO Champions, Colin Sillinger for earning the Jack Kent Cook Scholar Award. Some of the great things that we have going on in our community that we'll continue offering, we hope more residents participate in as they keep getting bigger and bigger every year, including the Fall Festival, which is really a family-friendly event that we just completed our 3rd annual year of. The Picnic in the Park and the Taste of Brooklyn, which are chamber events with huge turnouts, and we hope to see more people at this year. Our Halloween and Christmas home decorating contests are something that residents look forward to and participate in every year. Santa on a Sleigh, as I mentioned in my opening, and the Big Creek Connects Watershed Cleanup, which is held every June, and this will be their 25th year of doing it. I also want to take a moment to thank all of these businesses listed on this slide who give so much to our city and really make an effort to be a part of our community. With a projected $6.1 million loss in 2017 and one of our top 3 employers advising me they were looking to move elsewhere, there was a lot of hard decisions that had to be made in 2017 financially. Meanwhile, the Community Improvement Corporation had already began discussing creating a city center plan as recommended in the old 2006 master plan. Approved to do a request for qualifications in June of 2016, the responses yield 2 developers. After discussion with council, the administration, and a steering committee of residents and stakeholders to guide this project, a city center concept was created. Understanding whatever the final plan was, even after this vetting, this had to go to the residents, I was comfortable taking the next steps. A planning and development zoning proposal was approved by council and ultimately failed on the ballot. The good news was, right around the time of the zoning failure, we spoke to the business who was discussing moving out, and they were able to secure a lease at their existing space. The bad news is, the city was seeing huge dips in revenue in June of July last year. My finance director and I decided to weather the storm instead of making draconian cuts to our services or personnel. And as you can see, in 2017, we not only ended up in the black, we had some healthy reserve funds. Just kind of a brief overview of where our money goes and where our money is expended and how it's brought in. 59% of our revenue is from municipal income taxes. This is mostly from the businesses from our community. About 97% of those income taxes are from the businesses functioning here in Brooklyn. 6% is from our real estate tax, and 35% are from other sources like local taxes, fees, fines, grants, and rentals. As far as our expenses, that was about $20.9 million this year. 59% of this was for wages and benefits for our employees. 9% went to our capital expenditures. 5% to debt reductions like the fire station. And $5.7 million or 27% were for other expenses like utilities, insurance, economic development incentives and funding, taxes, building maintenance and repairs, and engineering costs. We ended 2017 with $15,818,000 in the bank. In our budget stabilization fund, we ended with $3,575,000. And in our Economic Development Fund, we boosted this to $1,788,000. Looking to 2018 and beyond, you may have read about a couple of these things in the paper. One is the city is looking to purchase the property at Tiedemann in Memphis. This is a few parcels of land making up 7.5 acres, and we hope to redevelop this land into something tax producing. Also, we'd like to continue working with Industrial Realty Group to make sure that the Old American Greetings development maximizes its potential. Additionally, we are working with the school on a printed newsletter to improve communication with residents on both ends for our school and for our city. So look for one of those newsletters come April of this year. As well as we are working with the school on a concept of Hurricane Alley, a partnership for athletic fields. We would relocate all of the fields, athletic fields, to one space since the school is using them during the school years and the city is using them primarily in the summer. This just makes sense for residents' tax dollars. So as we explore this idea, please come out and make your opinion known. Our next meeting for this will be in early March. Other things I'd like to explore is a new police station. We've done this 2 times in the past over the last 10 years, and this is a critical need in our city as we are constantly faced with different violations in our city jail. We have not a lot of space for our police officers, and we are going to start looking at developing a new plan for this concept this year. As I already mentioned last year, the city went out and did a needs assessment of all our buildings. We've identified we need to expend about $19.7 million to improve all of our buildings in the city. One of those buildings was our police station in City Hall, of which we met the threshold where it makes more sense to look at building new, especially in our police department. Also, this is one of the only health indicators that the city was cited for this past year was our capital improvement issues in the city. So it's one of the things that we need to concentrate on, look at our general fund revenue, and proceed from there on what we can do to eliminate some of these issues. Thank you for taking the time to tune into the 2018 State of the City. If you have any questions or any issues that I didn't cover in the State of the City, please don't hesitate to reach out to me directly. I can be reached at 216-635-4220, or you can email me at kagallagher, Gallagher, @brooklynohio.gov. It's your help and your questions that make Brooklyn a great community, so please don't hesitate to reach out. Looking forward to next year.